Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the 1-to-1 series. Okay, last week we had a podcaster on, Gary Goff. I'll leave a link up here. And this week we're bringing on one of the hosts of the Irish Photography podcast, and his name is Darren J. Spoonley. Darren is a landscape photographer and travels the length and breadth of the country, and I mean this dude loves his landscape photography. So let's jump over to the studio and let's get chatting to Darren Spoonley. And you're very welcome to the 1-to-1 series, Darren McFarkley. How are you, my buddy? How are you keeping?
You know, in all my years, I've never really heard somebody call my name like that. It's very original, to be fair, you know. I mean, I thought you'd have done better.
Darren McFarkley. I thought it was Darren McFarkley,
no? Thought you'd not. Do you know what? Familiarity breeds contempt.
Darren Spoonley, my good old buddy, pal. How are you keeping? Very welcome to the 1-to-1 series. How's things with you?
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm very good, man. Thanks for having me on this illustrious series. I feel really, really privileged, to be fair. So yeah, happy to be here, man.
Good. Let's crack on the interview, and let's make some majestic things happen, shall we?
Sure, let's do it.
Excellent. Okay, so for those who don't know who Darren J. Spoonley is, who is Darren?
Do you know, it's always a hard one to answer, you know? I mean, look, I'm a passionate amateur landscape photographer. I'm based in Ireland. I'm from Cork. Any opportunity I can get to be by the sea, I'm there. Any opportunity where there's good light, I'm there. But in recent times, any opportunity to hang out with people and have the laugh with photography, and I'm there too. Is that a good summary?
That's spot on. Absolutely perfect. So let's rewind back a few years now. Obviously, we might be going back further than we really want to go, but what got you started in photography?
Long time ago, I think my brother actually is the one that really got me into photography, because he had film cameras and he would always be developing films in the bedroom that I shared with him. So I think I kind of really saw the first part of it there. Got my first camera when I was around 12. It was a film camera. Kind of, you know, started taking some photographs there. People always kind of said to me, geez, you know, you've got an eye for the photo. I never really knew what that meant, but okay, fair enough. And just continued to progress on and just take different photographs. And I generally, you know, I've gravitated to the landscape. That's where I feel most comfortable. And as I alluded to a moment ago, you'll find me by the sea more often than not, because that's where I find the most dynamicness in photography.
That's a nice word, dynamicness.
I was going to say dynamicism, but I knew I'd get it stuck up, so I said, okay, dynamicness.
Dynamicness. We'll write that down. I might use that myself. So, come here. Talking about cracks and jokes and all that, you are the co-host of the Irish Photography podcast with a guy called Dodd or something like that. Tell me what's that experience like?
Oh, you know what? It's a hard nut to crack, really. You know what? It's been really, really fun. You know, you and I, we have good laughs, you know, we get on well together. I mean, I like to think I push you along, and I like to think you push me along. And, you know, we've had some great people on the podcast. We've had some great topics on the podcast. We have some fantastic and talented listeners and, you know, members of our groups, and we've created a great community around it. So, altogether, man, it's been awesome. Oh, that's a different story.
we'll hold the boat there, one, so we won't let the can of worms open. So look, it does sound like it's a bit of a blast, and like for those who don't know what the Irish Photography podcast is, we'll send a link down below and you can log on and listen on Spotify and all that crack. But look, it does sound like it's a blast. But tell me this much, Darren, what has been the pinnacle of your photography career so far to date?
Okay, I mean, look, there's been a number of things, I suppose, over the years, but I think even with the podcast, it's been really, really good. The pinnacle of my photography journey so far is not the photos that I've taken, it's the people that I've met. And it's the fun that I've had with all the people that I've met along the way. You know, I've said it to you a number of years back that I really wanted to make it more about the people. You know, I set up Munster Landscape Photographers, which is a Facebook group, because I knew that there was so much talent in the whole of Ireland area, but there was so much talent in the 6 counties that we have in Munster. And that's something that has been really, really good over the years, and it's helped me as well to be able to grow as a photographer. So I think it's the people really that have taught me, because I'm not taught in college like you from a photography point of view. I'm taught by myself, but also I'm taught by learning from others as well. So that's been the pinnacle so far.
Cool. So you have got to witness some of the most amazing scenes, like all over Ireland and even abroad. Lucky enough to get to the likes of Italy and South Stack Lighthouse and all those places. But tell me this much: what has been the most amazing place that you've ever witnessed? Like, which place has really like captured your heart? How has it captivated you?
For me, it's not going to be outside of Ireland. It's going to be Ireland. And I think, we've got so much to offer here. I think Ireland as an area will encompass everything. So rather than be pinpointed down to one particular part in Ireland or one particular location, I would say Ireland full stop. I mean, look, I made a video there on my YouTube channel recently and I called it my ode to the landscape, because it is an ode to the landscape. I love Ireland. I'm a very, passionate Irish person, I suppose, but from a photography point of view, it really has so much to offer. And I would hasten to say that it probably has more to offer than more of the popular places that have become popular around the world. I mean, we're lucky. I think somebody said it on one of your one-to-ones, actually, I think it was Peter Cox, that people haven't copped on to the fact that Ireland is so beautiful. I'd echo exactly the same thing. Ireland is phenomenal. One of the challenges that we have here, though, is our landscape is stunning. The conditions can be hard. Now, I've always said as well, another motto that I would have is that there's no such thing as bad conditions in landscape photography. But it helps when you get nice light and you've got a beautiful scene. The two of them married together really makes it for a wonderful shot, as opposed to a beautiful scene but dull light. But Ireland is a lot of westerlies that come in, so we have a lot of clouds that will come in, we get a lot of rain. The weather forecasters in Ireland, they have the easiest job. Is it's cloudy, chance of rain. So, yeah.
Very true. And it's funny that you talk about windy and stuff like that. And it just reminds me back to one of your vlogs there a couple of months ago. You were down in Kerry and you're photographing in some kind of dangerous place where the wave kind of comes in like that. And you were literally blown off your feet. It was very funny to watch, but very entertaining at the same time. It's a true representation of Ireland.
Quite complex for the weekend. Storm Jorge will affect Ireland right the way through tomorrow, Saturday. So for western coastal counties, we have an orange level warning in place right the way through the day from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. on Sunday.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, and I really hope you enjoyed the series that I was in the Dolomites. I'm back in Ireland now at the Wild Atlantic Way for nothing. Look behind me here, look at these conditions, it is incredible.
Blessed in a way that somebody a few years back came up with this wonderful idea to call something that we've had in geological terms since the history of Ireland, let's just say, which is a coast that runs all the way along the Atlantic, but they call it the Wild Atlantic Way. And it was really correct. It was a very good name because it is wild. And it is a way around the Atlantic, let's just say. It does exactly what it says in the tin. But when you mentioned there, that was Storm George or Jorge. So it was something that I decided, I wanted to go out. I always wanted to go out in the conditions like that, and I wasn't disappointed when I went out there. First of all, it was a yellow, then it was going to an orange, and they said, okay, it will potentially go to a red warning. And it did turn to a red warning, but you know what? I was safe because I was always aware of what was happening around me. I don't really take any risks or anything like that. The wind was 135, 145 kilometre an hour gusts, but it was gusting back in, so there was no debris going to be hitting me from the Atlantic unless some ship had been capsized outside, and I think I'd have seen that come in against me. The only thing that really hit me a lot was foam, because the water was being pushed up so much. But that's a perfect example of how beautiful Ireland can be in bad weather, but after a bad storm comes lovely light, and I was there for that lovely light. So yeah, it was savage.
With that lovely light, tell me about the camera that you use to capture that beautiful moment. Like, what's the gear that you use and what's the pros and cons of it?
I don't suffer from a thing that you suffer from that often. I have a small bit of it, to be honest with you, every now and then. It does kind of, it does rub off every so often. It's called gas gear acquisition syndrome. There should be a crown on your head at all times because you are the king of gas. But for me, like, my camera actually is here next to me. It's my Canon 6D. The camera itself is nearly 9 years old. The lens that I normally use from a landscape point of view is a Canon 1635 f4. It's an L lens. It's a phenomenal lens. It rarely comes off the camera. I have changed, I suppose, in recent times to kind of play around with different lenses and see what they can do, but I invariably always gravitate back to that. So from a wide angle point of view, landscape point, I want to be able to capture the wide vista. But moreover, that lens is incredibly sharp. And you know, the 6D, I mean, it's a full frame camera. It's phenomenally good. I think it shoots at 20 something megapixels, 20 more than enough basically. But you look at the newer cameras that have come out now, I could spend 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 euro altogether. For what? For what money? For what many gains am I going to get? So that 6D serves me well. It's not even weatherproofed, but it's been out in a lot of bad weather and it hasn't missed a beat. So
Exactly. So you seem to be very calm, collective, and very serious at times, right?
Am I?
But has there ever been a time where you've just lost it? I mean, like freaked out and act like a child. So basically what I do on a weekly basis.
Well, do you mean act like a child in a good way or a bad way? Because, you know, act like a child can be get excited and overexcited about something.
I leave you to interpret the way you want to.
Oh, okay. Well, look, actually, you mentioned there when that photography shoot that I was at down in Dingle during that red warning storm. That was a moment where I went, this is why I love landscape photography. Yeah, you know, okay. I am generally a calm person. I generally try and be, you know, mindful of myself, let's just say, on a regular basis, and that helps me to keep me grounded. But that day, it was, I remember even on the camera, holding the camera up, vlogging to the camera, kind of going, look at it, look at it, look at it, it's amazing, look at it.
This is insane, and it's exactly what I love about being out and about in the open, in the elements, getting the shot, well, hopefully getting the shot.
And it was amazing. So yeah, go watch it. You might give a link there to that video above here, but
we'll have that video up here.
I mean, it was one of the best moments from a landscape photography point of view, and probably one of the most exhilarating moments as well, to be out in that, because nobody,
to be sure,
mind you, I say nobody be out in that. There was a lot of people that were out in that. They were driving along, and they were driving in their car and staying in their car because they wouldn't get out because it was so windy. And there's me. Now, okay, I was head to toe in water, wetproof gear, you know, so it was fine. Like, but it was quite hard actually at times, even when I used the GoPro to record and film that. It was getting destroyed, like I said, from the amount of foam that was coming up. So a lot of the footage I couldn't keep the lens clean because it was such chaos. But incredible,
but you know what, Darren,
shots.
That adds to the drama of the scene, so it kind of helps in a weird way as well.
Yeah, but it's true. Like, I mean, it was pretty horrendous conditions, but phenomenal light.
If you were not allowed to go out and shoot the landscape simply because you probably die, just for argument's sake, right? But you could shoot one different genre of photography, what would it be and why? Would it be like scuba diving, macro, portrait? What do you think it'd be?
Well, it can't be scuba diving because I have to go out to get to the water, so I have to rule that one out. I think, you know, what it might be is, you know, the topic that you tried to do there, which was the water droplet photography, macro,
which I aced, by the way.
With gel lights in the background, and I go all out and do everything, you know. I don't know. Portrait, I don't think I would do that. I struggle at times to take photographs even with the kids. But that's because they're kids and they try and move and stuff like that. Macro, okay.
How dare they?
Macro is fun, but my God, it's a finite difference between in focus and out of focus. And it's something that I think, you know, it'd probably end up wrecking my head. Astro. I would do Astro because I could do Astro from home.
Well, you're kind of cheating there, but we'll leave you off with that one. Okay. So let's touch base on your YouTube journey. First of all, congrats, buddy, on getting to 2,000 subscribers. It's an absolute...
Thanks,
that's
buddy.
Brilliant. I mean, it's an inspiration to me because I haven't been following you in your shadow ever since, like, we've started the whole YouTube thing. So congrats on that side of things.
Man.
But what's it like taking on such a strenuous task of having to record as much as you do on a weekly basis and putting it up on YouTube? Talk me through the process.
I don't see it as a challenge. I don't see it as a struggle. I don't see it as all the things you described it as. I see it as fun, and I see it as something that I would do anyway. You know, my YouTube journey, so as anybody has heard me talk about it before, I'll repeat it for a very quick moment, I suppose, but my YouTube journey purely started by accident. Started talking in regards to my friends and kind of going, here I am, and using my phone and look at the light I have here and just sharing that. And then I started to do a bit more, and then I started thinking and saying, wow, okay, you know, I'm making these things every week, and it's actually forcing me to get out there, to become better, to find different locations, to find different photographs and stuff like that. But then I started saying, you know, I could build all these videos up now, but my kids would benefit from this, I think, because when I'm dead and gone, they'll know where I've gone. When they wake up in the morning, I wasn't there because I was out wherever it was, Kerry or something like that, taking photos from God knows, God-forsaken hour I left home to get down there. Or when I come home in the evening and they could be gone to bed, you know, and where's Daddy? So, I mean, it leaves a legacy for them to document how I've done, but also from my own point of view. And this is a big one, I think, because you said it to me recently. You started watching back over the videos that we made when we went off together. And that is something which I think is quite unique, because people that watch the video, okay, they get the moving image. People that look at the photo, they get the 2D scene. But we actually have got the whole idea of experiencing all of that. So when we're watching the video or looking at the image, it brings back all the memories. So I love making the video point of view. It's something that I think I will continue to make for a long period of time more. Whether or not they're going up on YouTube or not doesn't make a difference. I'm making it because for me, I can look back over them again. And I do that quite a lot. You know, I started my YouTube journey in 2017. So I decided to go one a week from September 2017. And, you know, it is hard, but I'm smart at times because, you know, okay, I work a full-time job. I'm an amateur photographer, so I don't have the opportunity to go whenever I want to go out. So when I can go out, I try and make the most of it. So I'll go out for a full day. I'll get up again, you know, early. I'll get out, I get a sunrise shoot. Okay, done. Whatever that location was, that's one video. If I go off somewhere in the afternoon when I'm waiting to go somewhere else for sunset, I'll get one in the afternoon. Most people wouldn't shoot in the afternoon landscape photography point of view, but you can. And there's a lot that you can do during the midday sun, let's just say. And then you go to the late afternoon, or if it's going in the summertime, I might end up getting 4 episodes out of one day in 4 different places. So I try and squeeze as much as I can in. So that gives me a month content. So then the perception is that it's a lot of work, but okay, it's one day for a month.
Yeah. Fair play to you. I need to take a leaf out of your book maybe to kind of make it that much easier for myself, you know. But genuinely, thank you so much for coming on this one-to-one series, Darren. As you've been an inspiration to not only me, but I'd say a lot of the people over Ireland and in the photographic community. And thank you very much for being a co-host on the Irish Photography Podcast also.
Chapeau.
So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you've liked it, please hit the like button and press subscribe. And if you're not, and also, this is my first time ever asking anyone to press the notification bell.
Oh yeah, hit
so
that
you
bell.
get notified of our future videos. Okay, so guys, and don't forget to tune in next week. We have on Ireland's most accomplished underwater scuba diver photographer, Nigel Might here. So we're going to look forward to that one. So Darren, thank you very much for coming on the one-to-one series, and I'll see you quite soon, buddy.
Thanks for having me on, buddy. Slán go fóill, everybody.
Hey.